Welcome back
to that same old place that you laughed about. Yeah. Welcome back to part 3 of our discussion on why we're planning on leaving the United States, and in particular why we are planning on moving to the continent of Africa. I am Asad, and this is
Adrienne.
All right. So today we wanted to kind of get into some other discussions. The first part of this series was kind of like an in general why we're planning. The second part kind of dealt with the business and the economics, and this one kind of piggybacks on that, as well as kind of discusses our reception in the on the continent.
Because there's a lot of misperceptions.
There's a lot of misperceptions. There are a lot of people who assume that Africans don't like black people.
African Americans.
And don't like African Americans. And I am sure that on a continent of 1.5 billion people, you can find an African who doesn't like an African American.
I bet you I can find some African Americans
who don't like
African Americans.
Americans who don't like African Americans. Exactly.
Anyway.
But so we're going to discuss a few things today. The death of George Floyd.
Yeah.
He was a black American in the United States. Obviously, he's a black American. And he was murdered by police officers. They kneeled on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, was it?
I believe.
Yeah. And then this sparked worldwide protest. I would like for you to take a moment to check out what some African leaders had to say about the death of George Floyd.
Chauvin kept his knees in position for over 8 minutes after Floyd started to cry out, "I can't breathe." We continue to open our arms and invite all our brothers and sisters home. Ghana is your home. Africa is your home. We have our arms wide open, ready to welcome you home. Please take advantage. Come home. Build a life in Ghana. You do not have to stay where you are not wanted forever. You have a choice, and Africa is waiting for you.
What you just heard was Ghana's Minister of Tourism, Arts, and Culture inviting black Americans specifically back to Africa. She said you do not have to be where you are not wanted. Africa is home. Arms are wide open. Check out this other clip of Julius Malema from South Africa.
And have some useless hashtag on social media, put South Africa first. That is a narrow nationalism, because the problem of black people is not a problem of South Africa. A black man is hated everywhere, be it in China, be it in France, be it everywhere. You cannot say South Africa first. We must say black first and defend the black lives everywhere, including here in South Africa.
Yeah.
Julius something else.
Julius got
Look like he been looking at the nation.
Julius got no Farrakhan in him. Julius got a little Farrakhan in him. Yes, indeed.
I'm sure they a little nervous when they look at Julius, like, whoa.
But here's what I'm saying.
Far cry from Mandela.
Well, definitely, and much love and respect to the ancestor Mandela, and the work that the ANC put in for the liberation of South Africa. But Julius Malema is cut from a different cloth.
Yeah.
Right?
Got a different mission.
Cut from a different cloth. But when we hear this, we then have to question those who say Africans hate African Americans. Here they are, standing in solidarity, leaders standing in solidarity, protest in the name of George Floyd. Right? But really what we wanted to talk about today was the kind of more on the economic conditions of black Americans, as well as Americans in general, as well as the future prospects of Africa. So do you want to touch on it?
I guess we can start with the cost of living in the United States.
Yes.
You and I both, we have small children, as some of you may. And like any parent anywhere on earth, we want a bright future for our children.
Right.
But we are facing some challenging times. So
Exactly.
wages in the United States, once you adjust for inflation, the purchasing power of the dollar has pretty much stayed stagnant since the 70s. So that's decades of no real growth in the wages that the average American makes.
Right.
And we see that things are getting more and more and more expensive. The cost of school, and a lot of these jobs that are high paying are locking out those who don't have educations. And
Right.
you remember when a bachelor's degree used to mean something serious.
In my father's day, a high school diploma meant something serious.
Right. Now people are going all the way to get PhDs to try to get a door open to them, depending on their field. But
Right.
either way, they're leaving school with
Massive amounts
thousands
of
and
debt.
thousands of dollars
Yes.
in debt before they land a real job. And then they're locked out of being able to buy a home or to advance themselves and buy those assets that, growing up in the United States, we were all looking for that American dream.
Right. That dream is gone. That dream has
It's
turned
a
out to be a true nightmare. And let's look at very real, very tangible numbers. The federal minimum wage has been $7.25 since 2009. We're in 2020. Right? Your check is the same, but the cost of bread, milk, and eggs has increased 10-15%, if not more.
If not more.
Right? I remember as a bachelor, when I first graduated college, I guess about 2002, I could go shopping as a bachelor for about $25-$30. I could make it work. Now, granted, I wasn't buying filet mignon,
I was gonna say, well,
but I
where
was
were you
able.
shopping? Oh, you mean grocery shopping.
Grocery
Okay, okay,
shopping,
okay.
yeah, grocery shopping. I was able to buy bread and milk and eggs. Your basic stuff, cereal. Maybe spaghetti, red beans, because I'm from New Orleans. Something very quick to cook.
That'll last.
In order to maintain.
In New Orleans, you remember when rents would be, I knew someone in college around the same time, 2003, 4, paying $400 a month
Right.
for an apartment.
Yeah.
Very
Very
couldn't find
affordable.
anything close to that right now.
New Orleans used to be very affordable prior to Hurricane Katrina, and now the average rent in Orleans Parish is about $1,000 a month. Keep in mind that people are still making $7.25 an hour. So
The wages didn't keep up with the cost increases.
and this is played out in statistics across the United States. The Brookings Institute recently released a report, and it said that 7 out of 10 middle-class black children who grew up and their parents were in the income level of quote-unquote middle class, that 7 out of 10 of those children will slip back into poverty at some point in their adulthood. That's a very troubling statistic.
70%.
70%. So here you've raised your children, you've sent them off, or try to send them off to night
Send them off to
school,
if you're lucky.
right? And you try to afford them the best opportunities as possible: little league football, and swimming, and
Math
violin
tutoring.
lessons, everything that you can think that you want to
Well-rounded.
do for your children. You're taking them on a vacation here or there, and you're thinking, yeah, I've really produced a well-rounded child who will be able to be successful in this world and in this country. And at 25, they are in poverty.
Right.
They are poor.
I can remember working a professional job after getting a master's degree and looking around like, what is this? I thought I would have way more than this.
Right.
It's just, you can do all the right things, but if you don't control the means of production, you're still having to ask someone to employ you. You're still
Right.
having to go through the process of interviewing and hoping that you find a job. And we know as black people, that's an added layer,
Right.
an added barrier to accessing high wages.
And the prospects are not looking better. What we're saying is that the black middle class in the United States is shrinking.
Right.
It is not getting better. It's not like some of us seem to be under the assumption or misperception that, oh yeah, we were doing bad, but we were getting progressively better. We see a lot of black people on TV with
Right.
money, entertainers and football players, rappers and singers, and we think, oh, black people are doing well. You see one or two black people who've become billionaires. The reality is the overwhelming masses of black people are in poverty.
Right.
And poor.
And with the privatization of everything, that's bad for us. Because that middle class was built on public jobs.
On public jobs.
Government jobs.
Government jobs. But leave black people out of it. How about this? 40% of Americans of any race, any color, are only one paycheck away from poverty. 40%. And I'll put the link in the description for those who want to, check and research that. 40% of Americans, regardless of race, are only one paycheck away from poverty in the richest country in the world. So when we speak of leaving the U.S., people say, oh, this is the greatest place. This is, this haven. The numbers don't attest to that anymore. At one point, America was this great haven. But specifically for black people, it has never been. We have been poor post-slavery, and we are poor presently. And the prospect of our leaving out of poverty, right, and moving into the middle class is literally shrinking.
And the job is not wealth.
It's not.
So you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can make a great income, you can make great wages. The minute you lose that job,
you have nothing. We are in a situation where we can't even afford life insurance, so we are having GoFundMes and supper plates and stuff.
Selling dinners to raise money to bury people.
Yeah. And we have become so used to that that it just seems normal. However, if you look at the cost of living in South Africa, and I want to use South Africa in particular. I'm going to put up this this picture of this house. So that house in U.S. dollars will cost around $179,000. Yeah. Yeah. That's quite a difference.
That's immediate post-Katrina numbers.
Yeah.
Where everything around you was flooded and gutted.
Right.
You're the only rebuilt home on the block.
Right.
That's what they were saying. So
I want to do a comparison. So what I did was I searched for a home in Orleans Parish that was $179,000, and I would like for you to see what you can get for $180,000 in Orleans Parish. So if we look at the numbers, while the black middle class in the United States is shrinking, the middle class on the African continent is growing exponentially, right? So according to the Brookings Institute, and just bear with me, I'm going to read exactly what it says. Africa is one of the fastest growing consumer markets in the world. Household consumption has increased even faster than its gross domestic product, GDP, in recent years, and that average annual GDP growth has consistently outpaced the global average. By 2030, the largest consumer markets will include Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. There will also be lucrative opportunities in Algeria, Angola, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Morocco, Sudan, Tunisia, and Tanzania, among other African countries. Again, Africa's middle class is growing exponentially. When they say the consumer market are people who can afford to buy product. Let's understand what that code language means. The consumer market are the individuals who have the disposable income to buy polo shirts.
right.
Right?
To go on trips.
To go on trips. People who can purchase things in the market and at a store. They have disposable income. And Africa has the fastest growing middle class, according to George Soros, in the world, right? So when we speak of going to Africa, and
Grass might be greener.
the grass might be greener,
Grass might be greener.
right?
Just saying.
Yeah, the grass might be greener.